Yeah, when I tried to record last time, it just did not let me. It said you can't do that both at the same time.
Unlucky.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little funny how I'm a mod and I'm not following the channel.
Alright, they have been tamed.
They have been tamed.
Let me get the chat open on the side here. Let's see. Chat's there. That's the wrong folder. That's the Tourney client. That's the Tourney client folder.
Can't do that both at the same time.
Fucking hell. Okay. Let me turn that off. Make sure the bitrate doesn't immediately die in like 3 seconds. Alright. I think everything's good. I'm getting encoder overload. Okay. It stopped giving me encoder overload. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Alright. As I crack open a cold one. Welcome everybody to the round of 16 Mappool showcase. I think the round of 32 kind of went about as well as I expected for a lot of the teams. And also in terms of I guess player performance on the maps. I haven't worked on any of the stat sheets yet for round of 32. So I don't know like full in-depth details on player performances like compared to each other. I've just kind of been perusing through NP links. But needless to say, I think round of 16 will be a decent step up in difficulty compared to the round of 32.
About a 0.3 SR difference?
Yeah.
Or just 2?
I believe it's roughly 0.3.
Alright.
Yeah. It's like 0.25. Pool size is still the same. It's still going to be 5 no mods, 2 hidden, 2 hard rocks, 3 double times, 2 free mods, and the tiebreaker. Still best of 9, 1 ban, 4 rounds of 16. And I think that'll be it from here. So let's get into No Mod 1.
Alright.
Secret Treasure. Draw the Emotional. Mapped by Shirahane Suo on the extreme difficulty.
Yep. Map is a little bit on the longer side performance, but I believe is about average size or length for a No Mod 1. 200 BPM, a little high for a normal one, I feel, but still, could be pretty good for some teams.
Yeah. There's not really going to be any like long string patterns in this. The song kind of lends itself in, like you can see, it's a pretty relatively, I say pretty, like a relatively quiet and simple like first section. And the key eyes are where the map kind of tends to pick up a little bit.
The SR for this map is 6.8. I believe the average SR for the pool, this pool is 6.9, so a little bit on the lower side. That is what you get when you pool normal ones.
Yeah. You can see in these key eyes, you can see a lot of these like slider shapes that you need to follow. None of these, I believe, have any slider ticks on them. That would be a little bit cruel if...
yeah, a little evil.
Yeah. But still should try your best to follow the ticks. Because, you know, you don't want... Or not the ticks, the slider bodies. Just make sure you're not dropping too many slider ends. Because you're losing a little bit of combo each time you're dropping slider ends. You lose
Oh.
accuracy.
Yeah.
I will preface this by saying, a little bit of an oopsies. You'll kind of see when we get to the 1 slots later. A little bit of shenanigans occurring there, but otherwise, this is just a relatively consistent test here. And again,
a couple more long sliders here.
Yeah. I'd put this almost like, I guess, in a similar style in terms of qualifiers No Mod 1. Not necessarily in terms of the aim, although we might see some of that in a bit. But it kind of just, it's unconventional. Because of how unconventional it is. I don't know what I was trying to say there. I was trying to say something like unconventionalness, which doesn't exist, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think I did see one slider that had a tick in it in the earlier Ki, so you'll have to watch out for that one. If there is a slider that did have a slider tick in it.
Yeah. I need to see if I can figure out how to show slider ticks on this skin.
I think it's just you have to add some sort of PNG.
Yeah. The map does pick up quite a bit in the last Ki. And don't get slow slidered there. That is a slow slider.
Like I was gonna say, you can just straight up steal a slider tick from another skin. Especially one that you might like. A bit of an unfortunate miss, I think, from Ampy.
Yeah. Ampy did like 95% of plays.
Yeah, Ampy is the goat here.
And this ending section is a little bit, it's a little bit difficult. Lots of wide angle triangles. To the very end.
And the funky end slider as well.
Yeah.
We love funky end sliders.
They really mapped out the entire ending.
You gotta get all of that length in the map that you can.
Fair enough. Alright. No Mod 2 time. Devious Panda No Mod 2.
Yeah, I was about to say, Devious Panda No Mod 2, that seems very scary.
Yeah. So, this is really, it's 188, inexperienced, 188 BPM, another relatively long map, almost 3.5 minutes long, 6.95 stars, and you can kind of see the big test here really is going to be your flow aim ability. If you can comfortably tap 188 BPM for like any decent length of time, I think like the longest set of like streams we've seen have been like 16 notes. There might have been a 32 note in there, but this is really going to be testing your flow aim ability. Stamina, there will be some stamina elements in there, with just how consecutive a lot of these consecutive streams, but again, you can see that flow control is really going to be the name of the game.
Now watch out for those velocity changing streams.
And the map doesn't really let up. We're already like halfway through, and it's just been like non-stop. You get like slight breaks in, tapping with the constant tapping with a lot of these kick sliders, and then we have this 1/3 section here, not to mention.
Can't wait to watch someone miss on this.
Yeah. And it transitions back into 1/4, back into 1/3, so...
This is how you tell it's a devious panda map.
Yeah. Sight readers on this map will be heavily punished by that, if they're not careful. Slow slider alert. But I think like the longest stream we've seen in this map so far has maybe been like a 32-note like stream.
Yeah. Nothing too much about stamina, but the flow aim is the main test here on this Nomad 2, like you said earlier.
And some of these, now we're kind of getting to some of the longer streams as we get closer to the end. But these stream shapes are not like the most comfortable stream shapes. So you really do have to like watch.
They feel a little weird. Some of them have weird curves. You can tell this is an older map, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. That's a very nice replay from MP. Very nice
replay. Good job.
Alright, Nomad 3. We dove into the depths of Graveyard for this one, and, well, we, as in me, and stealing very old consumer theme maps, decided to do a little bit of tomfoolery with the aim control once again. With Flowering Night.
I think the players will be happy as long as there's no 300 BPM bursts. But...
That is fair. That is fair. That should... From what I can remember, for the rest of the Nomad 3s, that doesn't happen, so no more 300 BPM shenanigans.
At least on Nomad 3.
Yeah, I probably should, like, bully Bing to look at, like, maybe adding a few hit sounds, because I kind of forgot this map is not hit sound at all. But we'll see. Nothing too crazy in this section. Really do have to pay attention in the Ki sections. And yeah, this is the original Flowering Night. None of that, you know, Night and Nights. This is the original from Sun. Yeah. You can see these Ki's go a little bit hard, especially with some of these patterns going back on themselves.
Funky little cut slider stream there as well.
A little bit on the dense side as well for kind of how overlapped some of these patterns are. Air 9.4. Could be a little bit difficult for some players to read.
Before this map ends, it's very short, it's only 2 minutes long.
Yeah. But I think reasonably difficult for this stage. Alright, Nomad 4, a lot of you have probably seen this map around. Baseline Doll from Iosis. This is the tournament version. I say tournament version as if the full length of the full map wasn't custom mapped for, you know, Kanyo Cup 3. But Baseline Doll is basically just the first half of this song cut. The second half is basically the same thing. This is probably going to be one of the more difficult maps in this pool. The start rating may say 6.42, but it can't. A lot of these patterns can kind of trip players up if you're not careful on this.
Map is also a little short here as well, being only 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah. This beginning section is something that I think a lot of players will need to at least put some practice in. Knowing where, you know, where to tap, where to aim your cursor. The beginning is kind of a little bit long for what we'd like, but I think it's still a fairly decent challenge. This is also, I think, the lowest AR map in the Nomad pool at 9.3, so again, kind of a little bit on the dense side.
Yeah, it is. Flowering Knight is only 0.1 AR higher than this map.
You can kind of see where the kind of techie section comes in. Lots of very fast sliders, kick sliders, cut patterns.
Little funky pattern. Couple funny slider jumps here as well.
Yep. A few slider streams as well. We had that overlap slider stream, did this this batch of slider streams. This map does not let up. And yeah, the map does end there, at least for the purposes of this tournament. If you want to play the full length, it's also included in the set.
Like a...
Okay, hold on a second. We are banning this guy.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Yeah, get out of here. Okay, now we can go on to Nomad 5. I don't care about your promotions. Alright, Nomad 5. This is one of the maps we actually had to change relatively last minute. Behind the veil, what am I reading? Behind the wall of apathy. I believe this was, I want to say this was Open 2022? Round 16 Nomad 5? It might have been 2021. I don't remember which year. Course Ace Nomad 5,
Yeah.
Air 9.8, 235 BPM. We got a few complaints that last week's Nomad, the round 32 Nomad 5 was a little bit more on the reading side, and I can understand that, you know, knowing Align as, like, seeing a lot of Align maps, so here is pretty much a pure genetics test, pretty much.
I think it is... It's not the highest star rating in the pool, it's one of the highest.
It's definitely up there.
It's a little shorter, 2 minutes long, but it is 2:35 BPM long. This Croc map 2 as well.
But you can see, this is pretty much a pure genetics test. If you have, like, the stamina for this, then you should do pretty well. There's a little bit of aim involved, but it's not... The aim is not really that big of a factor in this map, I don't think.
Yeah, it's definitely more just the speed stamina than anything else. And like you said, a little bit of aim as well. It's also... I mean, it's not that long, but it is almost 1400 combo. That is because it is a speed map. Funky ending slider. Except for it's not the end, so
Yeah.
be wary.
Alright. Onto the hidden pool now. Yeah, this hidden one's probably a little bit of a flop, not gonna lie. We had a lot of we had a lot of difficulties trying to find a hidden one map just in general. But we have Lucian's diff of infinite nuclear fusion. You see there's a lot of tapping involved in this as well. There's not really gonna be a lot of emphasis on, like, I guess, awkward aim patterns like we kind of saw in qualifiers and in round of 32.
I feel like this has been used as pretty much any sort of like aim map in tournaments a lot. Gnome on 1, Hidden 1, Hard Rock 1, all those.
Yeah. It is a good map. Yeah. As Ampy kind of said, it's in the context of like the overall pool, it's a little bit on the questionable side, I will have to admit. I think we went through like, I want to say we went through like at least like 4 suggestions on the sheet alone, and I don't know how many more we probably looked at just as we were searching. So it was a little bit difficult to find, but I think overall the map is fine as a whole. Definitely more tapping intensive compared to what No Mod 1 had to offer. You can kind of see there is still a little bit of that awkward aim element to contend with, but it's not the main focus, I would dare say. Do be careful on those bus sliders.
Yeah, it's very easy to miss on those, especially with hidden. I can't remember if there's one more section. Yeah, there's one more.
Yeah. Pretty tame, but still something you kind of just need to be careful of. The map is not entirely over after that slow part. I think there's a little bit of a slowdown there, so kind of just be careful not to over-tap. Just make sure you're not dropping too much accuracy on the end.
You're looking at that UI bar every once in a while.
Yeah. Alright. Hidden 2. Very much in kind of a similar style to what we saw last week, except this time it's an actual half-slashed map.
Wait. Instead of just on the set?
Yeah. I forget which tourney this was customed for. I want to say it was OWC.
Yeah, I can check for you. Yeah, OWC 2021 qualifiers hidden too.
Okay. You can kind of see kind of a lot of, once again, kind of that in control. There's some reading involved. I think the reading, if you're a reading player, will be very easy, I dare say. So you kind of, if you're a reading player, you're mostly going to be concerned about just kind of making sure you're aiming all the notes correctly. These space triples, you know, the triples that go back and forth on themselves. If you're not good at AR8 hidden, this is going to be a difficult map. It's probably, I think it's a bit more complex compared to last week's, but I think it's like roughly in the same vein, kind of roughly a similar difficulty. This one just a little bit more mechanically intensive compared to last week.
I mean, last week's was just a little evil with those cut burst triples.
Yeah, just a little bit. That's a consumer being special, though.
A little bit of a couple funky space bursts here as well at the end.
Yeah, really need to make sure your aim control, your flow control is on point with a lot of these space bursts here. That's the end of the hidden pool. So we go into Hard Rock 1 now. Classic song Yorinaku by Undead Corporation. This one's a Lenvia's classic collab extra. I forget who's actually on the collab for this.
I can check that again.
It's Lennon Revia. So yeah, sorry, it's another 200 BPM map in the one slot. A little bit of an oopsie there.
I just think the player should tap faster.
Fair enough. This is probably... I want to say this is probably, like, the most generic of the one slots. I mean, they all kind of play relatively similarly, but I think they all have, like, their own different focuses. Very slight.
Honestly, yeah, this one is more... It feels a little bit more of, like, a No Mod 1 than No Mod 1, personally. Just because there's not as many, like, weird sliders. It's mainly focused on the circles instead of the sliders.
Yeah. CS 5.2 after Hard Rock. I believe it's 6.9 stars on the dot after Hard Rock?
Yes. Yeah. This map is also 3 minutes and 30 seconds long. Just another consistency check here.
A little bit of a long, like, bursty section there into the second PI. Do be careful of that. It can be a little bit tricky to act that on Hard Rock, but it's not that egregious of a dip spike. You just need to kind of be aware it's there to not get fully be caught off by it.
Yeah, the map is just repeating the first part again.
Yep.
Very similar playstyle. Of course, it's similar playstyle. A little bit of a weird, awkward jump there, though.
Yeah.
Top two's angles there. Could catch some players off guard.
Yeah. Especially if you're like FCing up to this point with Hard Rock, it can be if you're feeling nervous at all at that point, that's probably a place where you're gonna break. But otherwise, map's pretty straightforward going into the end.
A little bit of an unfortunate end for Ampy, but
Chiv,
still a really
actually.
great replay.
The Chiv replay, actually.
Oh, it's Chiv?
Yeah. Yeah, Ampy did most of them, but I think Chiv did Hard Rock 1 and Fremont 1, I think.
Yeah, I think I just assume Ampy did it because of fucking
Yeah.
round of or round of 32.
Yeah, Ampy did a lot of them. So Hard Rock 2, Broken Moon remix. This is probably on the easier side in terms of kind of the precision map. Many players are probably aware of the really old set. I don't remember who the set owner is. I just remember HVIC has a guest tip on that. In terms of the aim, this map is pretty simple. You kind of just need to be careful a little bit of the flow control. There's actually a few 1/6 as well. A little bit of aim control, finger control. Pretty short map, 2 minutes and 20 seconds long.
Yeah, the star rating is a little lower than the Hard Rock 1 as well. But that is kind of standard for a Hard Rock 2 here. Star rating being 6.66, a little cursed, but...
A little bit. These patterns are a little bit awkward to read. Kikona is relatively known for making some pretty awkward patterns, so... You do kind of have to be careful in reading some of these patterns and aiming them as well. But with a few runs, a few tries, a little bit of practice, it should be doable for a lot of players who can at least like read AR-10, and it's just kind of putting 2 and 2 together.
Couple weirdly shaped bursts there, I saw one. Oh yeah, there's another one. Just don't let them catch you off guard. Should be good. Also nice funky end stream.
Yeah. Alright. The DT pool. Pretty much the entire thing got scrapped from what it was initially, so now we have Yudachi, Kimita Kakurega. 225 BPM, Air 10. It's pretty much like just an aim map, a little bit of bursts here and then, but otherwise pretty simple map. I think it clocks in at about 7.1 stars, I think.
It's 7.14 stars, being the highest star pool in the map, in the pool.
This is what happens when tapping gets buffed. I'm sorry. I think the aim overall is pretty straightforward. Maybe a little bit on the harder side, but I think again it kind of gets buffed by tapping because new SR put a lot of emphasis on, speed.
Yeah. Still no AR 10.1 or above, just AR 10 here.
Yeah. The original map we had in here was a little bit too difficult, and by a little bit I mean I think it was a lot too difficult. So we had to nerf the original pick in here, so as a result we replaced it with this. Again, probably could have tried to find another 10.3, but I think in terms of like what the map's trying to test, I think it does a good job of that.
It definitely doesn't look like a bad DT1. Oh, aim. Mainly focused on the aim. A couple bursts here and there.
Yeah. I would say this is the obligatory Senya DT, but I'm pretty sure we didn't have Senya DT. in any of the DTs so far, so... But at last, you get your Senya DT.
This map is only 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, so don't have to worry about too much.
Yeah. Alright. DT2. Selfish.
No.
So we finally dip our toes a little bit into the higher AR territory. It's I think this is base AR 8.6, so as a result...
10.1.
10.1. 255 BPM. This is another one of those picks that we kind of replaced last minute. Not necessarily like a pure speed stamina test, that's kind of more or less tested with Nomad 5 with how long a lot of those streams were, and just like the consecutive streams that were in Nomad 5. So this is kind of more just testing your high BPM bursting capabilities. It's a little bit on the slower side for, I think, what I would have liked personally, but this is another kind of one of those last-minute changes.
This is also the second highest star rating in the pool, being 7.1 exactly. Just barely under the DT1. Also being just about the same length. 2 minutes and 17 seconds when DT1 was 2 minutes and 21 seconds.
Yeah. There's still a little bit of an aim element involved in this map, so you do need to be careful of that. But I think for players will either struggle on the aim, the reading, or the tapping. 255 BPM is not... It's a relatively forgiving BPM, but at least if you're somebody like me who literally can't tap anything to save their life, it's pretty brutal. There's a little bit of finger control as well. You know, with how some of these bursts are kind of mapped.
Like, especially you see them every once in a while, they're like very stacked on top of each other.
Alright, let's go into the final DT of this pool. Kind of, again, similar vein to last week, and kind of what we're trying to do for, like, the DT3 slot for now, until we move into, you know, 4 DTs, where this eventually becomes the DT4. Kind of like this lower BPM aim finger control.
It is 90.5 BPM, which is a little bit of awkward BPM, but... or awkward to read. It's only 0.5 above 90, or 190, which I feel like a lot of people will be very prevalent on.
Yeah. But you can kind of see the aim control that you need for something like this, especially with the sliders. Some of these patterns are a tad brutal. I'm interested to see. There's definitely going to be some players who are going to excel on this map.
Yeah. I feel like this map, honestly, I don't know why. I feel like this map is easier to read with DT than it is with Nomad, because I believe with Nomad it's only AR8.
It should be 8.5, I believe. So
The song is really nice as well, so...
yeah, I suppose you always get bangers when you have Felt as the artist, so...
Totally. Map is a little longer than the rest of the DTs, being around 3 minutes long. It's definitely something you have to watch out.
Yeah. I make sure you have your consistency kind of in check for something like this, and with with some of these patterns, it can be very difficult to maintain a combo on, so... Yeah. Star rating can be a little bit of a deceiver on this one. I think it comes out to like what, 6.2 in the new SR?
The star rating? It's yes, just about 6.2, 6.19. So technically, if you round it up, 6.2.
Yeah, but still a very difficult map overall. All right, into the free mods. This was kind of a classic. We have CRN's Cosmic Drive. Yeah. I had to make sure I, like, pulled the AR9 diff. It would have been awkward if I pulled the AR10 diff, but... 256 BPM, AR9, CS4 AR9 OD8, like, very old style. Some people would call it alt, others not necessarily so. I think this map kind of covers the, at least for like the players who are probably going to be playing, probably going to be like playing hidden on this. This would definitely be like covering your dense hidden. I guess somewhat like aim, because it's definitely a lot more like snap aim focused compared rather than like flow aim. And then for hard rock players, definitely a very big accuracy test. Make sure you're kind of able to just maintain your accuracy on something like this. There'll probably be a few who might single tap this at 256 BPM. Others might play this at alting at 128. So
if you single tap this, you're a mess.
Yeah.
You actually have. I need that single tap ability.
I remember Michael pulled this in Touhou Tournament 2. I don't remember if it was... No, there was no free mod in Touhou Tournament 2. I forgot. I think this was probably pulled in hidden then. Most people are probably going to be more comfortable on this map with hard rock. Because again, reading this on hidden can be a challenge for some players with just how dense the objects can get.
Well, some of those slowdowns onto the 1-2s. With hidden, those could have definitely messed some people up.
Yeah. It's also a relatively long free mod 1 as well. 4 minutes and 19 seconds.
She just says 3 minutes and 52 seconds. It could be just the drain time.
Yeah, sheet accounts for drain time. So Yeah. I suppose just be glad CRN didn't map the entire thing, because the entire song, I think, is just under 5 minutes. I think it's like 450 something, the entire song. So... I don't remember the last time I've seen this map kind of in tournament play, besides Touhou Tournament 2. So I remember this was pulled, I think, in Fremont back in, I want to say it was OWC 2019 semis? I haven't really seen this map a lot recently. I think it's kind of just one of those maps where it's kind of awkward to pull anywhere, just because it's got such a weird... It has, like, such weird metadata. I think the BPM probably... I think the BPM probably throws off a lot of, like, pullers trying to pull this somewhere.
Yeah, possibly. The star rating for this on Hard Rock will be 6.67, and the hidden, of course, is going to be 6.17.
Okay. Fremont 2 time. Thanks, Chip, for that replay. So, welcome back, Bloxy. This is Caroline Destiny, and, Ampy decided to try this with easy, so... Yeah, so we get an easy replay. This is kind of very similar to the typical Bloxy map. Lots of CS5 AR8. Very, like, grid map. Lots of grid mapping. It is a little bit more on the precise end, in terms of, like, your CS5 AR8 map. It is OD9, so...
I'm just realizing, is this the same song as qualifiers hidden too?
It might actually be. I think it's, like, very slightly different.
It's very similar.
I do
same
believe
mapper as well.
Yeah. I believe it is the same, artist. I think... Let me take a look at this. It's very similar, I think. It's, like, very similar. Not quite the exact same.
I think the first one, Hidden 2 in qualifiers, was a cover, possibly, of this song.
That is possibly true. I had genuinely contemplated putting Silent Voyage to Eternity. The problem is that would make the Fremont pool like 5 years long, and I didn't feel like doing that. So.
Well, I guess if you like the Hidden 2, you can play it again. Kinda.
I think this is potentially a map we might see some players go easy on. Now that's in like pre-mod. I think we had a few players go easy on Cruel Moon last week. I don't remember, but I think we're still in the realm. I think we're still in the realm of like players being able to play easy on some of these maps. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see some easy plays.
Very possible.
Alright. Tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker time.
We had to throw in a little bit of the classic Mappool tiebreaker. So here we have Kadore Sukumobushi. I'm gonna skip this intro because the intro is like 12 years long.
Just barely 5 minutes here. Being 5 minutes and 1 second.
Yeah. Arguably not the best tiebreaker, but I think it still works fine. Most players who've been around, you know, in the, I guess, the prime of like when you would see Hey-Lulu maps everywhere, you probably get the rough idea of, you know, the Hey-Lulu mapping style. .164 BPM, so it's a little bit on the slower side. I guess you could maybe consider, some players might consider this like an alt map. I guess it could be slow enough to warrant that, but we're not going into like, I guess, the full alt BPM territory.
Not yet. And people are allowed to play this with mods, right?
Yeah, they are.
So I feel like we won't see many Hard Rock. I feel like the CS would be too small with Hard Rock, but or at least for someone who wants to actually play the tiebreaker. But we might see a couple hidden on this map, I feel.
Yeah.
Especially with the AR being 9.7.
Yeah. Could be comfort for some players, but needless to say, I think this would probably be one of the maps that, well, let's just say, probably going mods on this might not be the most ideal.
You're probably right about that.
These build-ups into the Ki sections can be really difficult for players to hit with some like weird directional changes, increased spacing as well, and then of course you have a lot of kick sliders in the Ki sections, which can be pretty easy to trip up on.
Bunch of a little bit of space streams as well, or more bursts more than anything, but. Ooh, that is a funky pattern there.
Yeah.
I definitely could see that messing up someone's FC run on this map.
Yeah. We'll see if this ends up getting. We'll see if the tiebreaker ends up getting played at all. I know in round of 32, besides a little bit of like a, well, for fun, the tiebreaker wasn't played, so.
Yeah. Did you see the image I posted?
Yeah,
in,
I did.
The chat. Yeah. That was a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, another little fun fact about that image is that we all played with an ear rape missound.
Oh god.
Yeah.
The Ki, this last Ki is by far the most difficult of the Ki's. So you do have to be careful.
Another funky pattern.
Yeah.
Again, another choke point where if someone's out seeing they could very easily miss.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this map is difficult. Like, I think there's only, like, I want to say, like, 6 FCs on this? I guess in like the 5 years or so that this map has been ranked.
You
So
probably guess why.
it's a very difficult map to be consistent on. So yeah, that is the round of 16 map pool. Let me hop over to laser real quick. Will this show? Actually, it's probably not going to show properly because I have the bracket on a completely different thing. Let's do this. Let me just like select that match, and hopefully, there we go. There's your map pool for the round of 16. I whether or not the last match of round of 32 gets streamed is completely up to me. So whether I feel like streaming it or not is yet to be determined. That match is in 1 hour, so
Yep.
otherwise, obviously no teams are eliminated. Losing this weekend, it's a double elimination tournament, so you get another shot in the losers bracket if you lost in the round of 32. Otherwise teams just play as normal. Again, best of 9, 1 ban per team. Is there anything else I'm missing? So I will send. I'll ping with map pools. Schedules will pretty much be out. Like they're done, but I kind of want to wait for the result of this upcoming match before I release schedules. So schedules will be a little bit delayed. So I'll probably ping after that match is done. Otherwise, pool will be on the sheet soon. Map pack will be there, and is there anything else? I don't know if I'm missing. I don't know if I'm missing anything else. Can you think of anything?
Not really. I think we went through everything today.
Yeah. If I forget something, I guess I'll think about it. But otherwise, yeah, pool will be on the sheet soon. Schedules will be out after this last match. Stats will probably be out around the 32 tomorrow. I don't really have time to put everything together for today, so probably tomorrow you'll get around the 32 stats. And again, kind of just if I feel like streaming this upcoming match, we'll see you back here either in an hour or this weekend for round of 16 matches. Take care, everybody.
Goodbye.